The reason I asked for him to come back on was because of an email he sent around a few weeks ago addressing the War Powers Act and the latitude it gives the president and the manner in which it changes a government's attitude toward its citizens. One of the things that the contents of the email made me wonder about, and this is just one issue, was why we haven't had Congress declare war since World War II. And then I started to wonder, have we been in perpetual war? As to the question of whether we've been scammed about the Founding Fathers, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, well, listen to what the I-Man has to say. Take down his references and cites and go look for yourself. You know, he does the research that nobody really wants to do because it's laborious. You deal with a lot of legalese, and it's just not the sexy stuff. But it's the stuff upon which this whole country of ours has been based. And now if we've been scammed by the lawyers, and that's the one thing that he said, too. You know, I asked him in past conversations, how in the world did some of the framers protest against the Constitution and sell out? I mean, some of them wanted the Articles of Confederation. I mean, why did they cave? And he looked at me and said, because they're lawyers. You know, and it made me think that, you know, maybe our framers or our Founding Fathers, whatever you want to call them, were less Christians and more Masonic and more lawyers than Masonic. And that's just as bad in a sense. So I think it's interesting stuff. And again, you know, take down whatever he says. I mean, take down the references. Take down the sites. And I mean CITES sites. And look for yourself. You can go also to the website atgpress.com. And then you'll see a link for The Informer. And there's another interesting gentleman there, too, by the name of James Montgomery, and they are known to one another. Also has some very interesting information. And the reason, I mean, you have to find out for yourself. I mean, if you're not going to go and look at what information he presents, then you can't say he's bogus. And that's what everybody does, it seems, even on the Patriot side of the street. If they don't want to agree with it, they don't check it out. And so, yes, you can hang on to your delusions. And I think if you check it out, as I have, I mean, it's pretty hard to argue with. So by all means, check out what work he's done on atgpress.com. Now, I've done something else, too. If you go to the audio, and we do have the Patriot Games audio from Friday that we got up late, but there also will be the 6-part series that the Informer and I did starting back last May. So I put it there only because if there's other further questions, you might want to listen to the other 6 hours. And they're there for, you know, your listening pleasure when you get around to it. But it'll also give you a better idea and background for what he's going to speak to in particular in these 2 segments. And as I said, they're heavily balanced, if you will, toward War Powers Act. And in the second segment, we go a little bit further on, for sure. But like I said, this to me pretty much nails it. And if it has been a scam, it's been a scam. I mean, they're governments. What are you going to do about it? You know, that's the way it goes. As Maureen Heaton said, and I think you might want to check out the late Maureen Heaton's PDF book. She never got it published. Nobody would probably do it anyway, but she died, I believe, also. It's on the website of Charlotte Iserbyt. That website is deliberatedumbingdown.com. Look under education, scroll down. Oh, let me see now. You know what? It's on the companion site. If you go to deliberatedumbingdown.com and then go down to the companion site, that'll lead you to Maureen Heaton's 356-page PDF. Well, she calls it the impossible dream. What it's about is how the foundations changed America. That was your government, folks, and it always has been since the 20s. But what she said is, you know, we've been reluctant to criticize the United States because for the most part we've had a decent standard of living. Not all of us, of course, but that's kept us more or less from being critical. But the point is, have we ever really had a government, especially in the 20th century, that was benign to us, and have we ever had one at all? We have back with us the I-Man. Hasn't been on for quite some time. He is the informer, as he's known, on the website that you can find very easily by typing in atgpress.com. That stands for Against the Grain. He did a series with us once upon a time. He continues to pass around emails of information and also exchanges with others of like mind. And it's something that he sent me, I guess, a little longer than I really think it was. But I've been persistent in asking him to come on to address this because I think it explains a lot about what is happening today with military, with the president, and maybe even the Congress, too. So, I know you had a little sticky going there health-wise. You're fully repaired and ready to go.
Yep, so far.
Yeah, right. But the interview's not over yet.
Right.
Okay, now, you sent an email around, I think, at that time, from the very beginning of this whole subject, had to do, I think, what was it, with Washington and the War Powers Act? Do you remember back that far?
Oh, yeah, that was General Washington, President Washington, General at the time. And he instituted the first war powers clauses of the Constitution in order to bring in the first bank of the United States, which was totally written against and wasn't supposed to be allowed. And because he knew that, and he was tied in with Hamilton real well, listened to Hamilton a lot, and didn't listen to Congress as much as he should have. And he decided that he would institute and use the War Powers Act that would allow him to bring in the first bank of the United States, which was foreign-owned, foreign-controlled,
right,
and under the behest of Hamilton. And that is where, in 1792, Montgomery has got the actual letters that he got from the Library of Congress, I believe.
You're referring to James Montgomery, right?
James Montgomery,
An
right.
associate of yours, yep.
And in there, he got some old newspaper articles back in the 1790s that said by the editors that we have lost our republic, and if we don't turn it around, we won't have any. And this is 1792, and it was because of Washington instituting the war powers to bring in the first bank, which was forbidden by the Constitution.
All right, in an outline form, I don't mean to get you going completely down a road there,
yeah.
but...
That's what started the genesis for all the presidents since then to be able to latch on to the War Powers Act and circumvent Congress.
All right, but I'm wondering, what is the tendon between the War Powers Act and the Bank of England? That sounds like it's disparate. How did the one allow the other?
Okay, the Bank of England, they never got into the first bank. Hamilton was set up because of his father. Actually, his name was Levine, and when he moved to the island of Nuevis, he married Rachel. I think it was Welsh, but anyway, she was a mulatto, and he was then a black Jew, and that's why Aaron Burr had to battle the gun battle, because he slapped him and called him a black Jew and chided him every time he had a chance in Congress. And of course he didn't like it. So, but he was set up. By the time he was 15, he went back to England and was gleaned and taught by, the powers back there, which was the bank.
Would that be the Rothschilds?
Yeah. And because his father was a friend of the Rothschild. And so when he came to the United States, he had everything in his possession that he was to be elected as the Secretary of Treasury, and therefore he was instrumental in bringing in the first bank. But a little thing happened is they didn't allow the Rothschilds or the Bank of England to actually become the bank. It was other bankers who was German descent, Swedish descent, French, a whole bunch of different ones of the bank, but not the Bank of England itself.
So are you saying agents for the bank?
Yes, agents for the bank. And there wasn't enough agents for the Bank of England on the board that they could sway it so that they got in as the first bank. And that's why